Hi there everybody, my name is Kate and welcome to my channel, Trinergy Awakens Naturally. One of my most favorite things that I want to share with you today is when we ask a question of spirit, or we ask a question of our guides or God or whomever we subscribe to, and we get the answer in the weirdest, funkiest way ever. Just to give you some context for the story, the last few days I've had a lot of very weird dreams. Normally I do not dream in anything that I remember anyway. I went from having nightmares for years, to I just don't dream anymore. Stuff doesn't come to me like that generally. But for probably at least a week now, I've woken up and either known I was in slimy places or was aware that, there was just nasty stuff afoot. And a couple of times I've woken up remembering exactly what the dream was. A couple of times were dreams that were very much, an astral experience. And oh yeah, we chewed on that one the whole day. However, I woke up this morning and was like, yeah, that was gross that I went swimming in that muck. I'm glad to be awake and out of that. Yeah. But I did ask the question, as I usually do, that if there's something I need to remember from that, please bring it through. Please bring this in some sort of context that I remember and is applicable, so I get the lesson, so I'm not chewing on the dream itself. If that's unnecessary, bring me the information for me to get what the context of the dream is. I need the lesson. If I don't need to labor over the details, then cool, let's do it some other way that we can go to school. Well, I took that into my morning and didn't give it another thought that, yeah, let's take that slime away. Whatever that gross feeling is, take that away. Thank you very much. And let's go on, and move about. So I took my dog. It's finally a little bit warmer here in Colorado Springs. It's Super Tuesday. And so, got a few things to do. And I take my dog and I go over to Garden of the Gods Park, which is just a beautiful place not so far from where I live, where I do a lot of hiking and have spotted some really cool animals in the past and just spend a lot of time over there because it's a place that I can get a hold of myself with nature and the natural world in a really just fabulous way. The rock formation are unbelievable, and just it's magical. I don't know how to explain it. It's like Disney, except in the natural world. By the way, if you hear my dog, he's chewing very heartily on his bones, and my cat, of course, is scratching my legs. So if I look like I'm distracted, I am. Kind of. I'm busy trying to keep my animals from distracting me some more than they already are. So anyway, I get over to the park, and it's a little bit tentative because my pooch is not one that I can trust on recall just yet. He will still kind of run away. He's just over a year old, and so he's still got teenage boy running through him, and he will, not necessarily come back, even though he knows that he's supposed to. Yeah, he exercises his free will sometimes to just not listen to me. So I have him on a 25-foot lead that I can snatch him if I need to, and that's, in parks that are, not such a problem, closed parks, that's one thing. However, this one, I specifically wanted to take him over to Garden of the Gods because it's a dog park. However, it's not fully enclosed. And so we were testing some boundaries today to see if he would actually run away and not come back. So I was a little bit tense, and I've got on my mind, that I've come out as slime from overnight. I've been busy somewhere doing some dirty, nasty tunnel work of some kind, and yuck. So I need to go and cleanse off, clear off, and let's go visit Mother Nature. And I'm going to bring my Poochie along, and we're going to try this 25-foot lead experience in a whole new way, where, there's not all four sides closed in, and, we're going to see how this boundary works. Don't know why I felt inspired to do that, just felt like that's what I need to do. So I get out, and I tried keeping him away from the other dogs. There are not a huge amount of other dogs that are there ever that I've seen in the past, but we never engage with them. Even though he's wanted to, I've never allowed him to because I can't let him off the leash, reasonably and responsibly that he will come back to me. Then, yeah, I'm not creating that kind of a mess for myself. Other parks are enclosed all the way in, so that's a decent bet that, I'll find him eventually. So anyway, I was a little bit skittish about it, yet there were some other dogs there, and yet I was trying to keep him kind of separate from them and just play with his ball, and he was not even remotely interested. He's like, what do you want, crack lady? There's other dogs here. I don't want to play with that stupid ball. I can do that at home. So let me go over here, let me play. And so I kind of, just held his leash and he walked on. And long story even longer is that we found some people, that seemed to be friendly. One of the dogs came over towards him and, started playing. And so that's kind of an indication that, okay, this person's willing to let their dog come over and play with mine. And, and then I started walking up on them and introduced myself and said, hey, is it okay? We're learning some manners. We're still kind of a gloppy and sloppy teenage boy a little bit, and we're trying to learn some manners about how not to be quite so boxador and meet everybody with our front paws, because that's kind of his thing. But it doesn't go over well. It can look like he's being aggressive, or he can topple other dogs just being goofy. He's just goofy. He's not aggressive. He's just goofy. So anyway, these people were very, very nice and very engaging and had no problem with, oh, that's great. My dog's young too. And so anyway, we were just chatting, and as the group started to separate, there were 2 or 3 of us there, and it was left with this man and I and our 2 dogs, and they were still playing and having a good time. And a woman came from behind that I didn't see her, but I saw her dogs first, which, it's a place where the dogs are allowed to be off leash. However, I'm kind of needing to keep an eye on my dog if I'm going to be responsible, right? 616. So I see that her dogs are coming up. One of them's smaller, and one of them's about the same size as Hondo. And the smaller one gets a little bit tumbled in the play, and I thought, oh shit, I need to go run and grab him right quick and get a hold of his 25-foot lead, all right? This is where people are, and this was my intention coming out of my dream this morning, is please bring to me what I need to know about that slimy energy that has been kind of slicking and freaking and leaking and squeaking around me for the last week or so. What is that? Because I need to let that go. I don't like that experience. Whatever's trying to, tar me and feather me and, whatever, I'm not interested in it. So how can I alchemize this and get out of it and move it on? And so take that into context that I turned around and this woman, is coming, and she's kind of walking with a little bit more purpose. Her dogs are off leash, right? And I go and I grab his and quickly snatch him up on it. He's, of course, ignoring 717, the idea that I'm saying, Hondos, please stop, wait, gentle, etc. He's super excited because he's a dog, and he's a teenage dog at that. And he's just, not there yet in his training. We're not there. And so anyway, I go and I start making feet to move quicker to pick up the end of his leash and start working it, because I can reach the end of his leash before I can reach the beginning of the leash where it is at his collar, duh. And so I pick up the end and start pulling him back and giving him the commands and, walking it forward. Meanwhile, the answer to my question came of, oh, the slime that you don't remember from last night, those cowards who like to, be very loud and bullyish and all that other bullshit whenever they're from a distance. The minute you get up on it and start challenging what they're saying and doing, man, they go blah, blah, just like a balloon that pop that sucker. And man, people get weird and ridiculous. It just caught me by surprise. But I started grabbing him, and giving him his commands, and he was a little bit more interested in playing. The little dog figured out, hey, this is too much for me. I'm going over here. I'm going to go back to my mom. But the other one that was matched pretty well in size for Hondo, the other dog was slightly bigger, however, better matched for what they were trying to do. Hondo turned the dog over and was mounting, looked like he was mounting, and I know my dog well enough to know that even if that was what he was doing, it's not a weird dog assault thing. However, I understand people get, a little put off with that, and I don't, just let it go on. However, I was trying to get to him, pulling, reeling him in, so to speak, on the 25-foot lead as I'm moving quickly to, get towards him. That I'm watching him and seeing, okay, he's in play mode. He's in, hey, I want to play. He's in that mode. And this dog is easily submitting. And the woman starts freaking out, and saying, can you get your dog? Can you get your dog? I'm like, do you see me? And I don't say anything except I'm working on it. I don't curse her. I don't do anything like, what the hell do you think I'm doing? Because There's no sense in creating more havoc and more panic for someone that's obviously already bothered and worried about her dog. I know that my dog is not going to assault her. It's 9:39, and I also know that he's not being aggressive or trying to mount her like that. I know my dog. However, she doesn't, so let's not make this worse, Kate. You know, don't get up in her butt about it. Just get him and remove him. And so I did. I just kept pulling on him, and she was saying, you know, come here to her dog, who also had lousy recall but was not on any leash at all. That dog wasn't paying a bit of attention because the dog understood this is play and wanted to continue to play. Well, it would have been fine, except that I needed 10-10, thank you. I needed to know what this dreaming and the sliming and the, all that leaking, freaking, and squeaking was about for the last week or 10 days. That's been this energy just swirling around, acting weird and misbehaving around me, and, you know, just making all kinds of clutter and noise and all kinds of stuff, right? This woman, she's bold enough to let it articulate out of her mouth that, well, maybe dogs, and as she's walking away, of course, she's bold enough to say it out loud that, well, maybe some people shouldn't bring their aggressive dogs, and blah, 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 as her dog is off the leash, okay? She's dragging it by the collar, and I said, what? You know what? Is this woman really upside down world? Yes, Kate, she is. And I said, excuse me? And she goes, well, as she's walking away, she tells the ethers and, you know, backlashes that maybe some people shouldn't bring their aggressive dog. And I said, he was just trying to play 11-11. I said, I'm so sorry that, you know, it frightened you or whatever. I said, he's really just trying to play. I'm so sorry. And I tried to be, you know, as polite as possible. However, when people are bullies and they're used to running their bullshit, when you call them on it, they lose their mind, and she did. The man that had been allowing Hondo and his dog to play came zipping up because, you know, it was starting to get really like, she was starting to get all kinds of flustered when I said, excuse me. I was actually trying to apologize, 11:44, for my dog's behavior, that it could be misrepresented and misunderstood. I'm sorry. You know, I'm trying to make this right. This woman lost her mind, right, with the fact that she's been called on her doo-doo, on her, you know, don't make this a big deal. I'm trying to apologize to you. She turned around halfway, and this is what cowards do when they really don't have all the balls to come all the way through. Here's what it looks like, 12-12, is that she said, well, blah, 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 and she started just, her mouth just started saying the most absurd things, you know. And I said, ma'am, I said, thank you very much for your feedback. You know, I appreciate that. Let's just let it go, you know. And I put my foot down just like that. I said, let's just let it go. Please just let it go, you know, and I'm going to leave you and you leave me. Let's just let it go. And I started to turn around, and the man behind me, for whatever reason, he came to Hondo's defense, my defense, whatever, or wanted to get into it with this woman. I have no idea. He was very sweet, you know, very kind, but he said, you know, this dog's been playing here with my dog for the last 45 minutes, and it's not an aggressive thing. You know, I don't understand what the problem is. He was trying to basically do what I was trying to do, and this woman was just not about it. She was still too much of a coward to turn around, face the people that she's trying to bless out, but yet wouldn't let it go. It was just amazing to watch that. If this couldn't be more indicative of the bullies in my life and the bullshit artists in my life, is really what that's about. Is every bullshit artist that I've ever known was a bully in my life at some point, that they tried doing it, and once they get called on it, they cowered and like a balloon just deflate and go away. However, most of them, in my own personal experience, didn't have the sense to just deflate and go away. Please, you know, don't make a loud as you go. It's really not necessary, because it's embarrassing to watch, okay? Because I didn't know this whole time that you were so easily pricked and poked and deflated. I had no idea. So give me a minute to, you know, deal with, ooh, that was embarrassing. But you're going to make it worse by sulking, skulking, and not even having the nerve to face the person that's, you know, challenging you. Yeah, I'm trying to apologize to you, and you can't stand it. You're used to being such a bully that, what, you know, are you doing? But this woman actually, she turned around and she goes, shut up, just shut up. And this is a woman that probably was my age. You know, I'm in my 50s, I'm 55. She was at least 40 or 45, for God's sakes. I was so shocked and so baffled by it that what is this? And then it dropped in immediately of, here you go, there's the answer to what you asked, which is that you've got another pass of some folks, some energy, some stuff that's trying to clear out of your energetic field one more time. You know, we're taking another trip around the onion and slice and dice and keep it moving. However, this woman, it was fascinating and sickening all at once to watch her, because this man, he was trying to say, you know, it's really not that way. And then of course he got triggered. And I'm there just saying, yeah, I got to go. You know, me and my dog, I don't want to be in the middle of any of this. I got the message received. Thank you very much, Spirit. Let's move it on. It was bizarre because she actually resorted to just telling this man, shut up, shut up, shut up. You know, and I said, ma'am, please. I said, just let's not make a big deal out of this. I said, can we just end this? Just please stop. You know, and I realized, why am I begging someone that's on the verge of losing her shit in the middle of a beautiful park where I got my message, and if I step over that any further to try to implement something in real time, this isn't about her real time issue. It has nothing to do with that. This is about you and what you were doing last night and for a week or so, dealing with your own little monsters and your own little bullies and your own bullshit artists that have nothing to do with this woman. So just stop talking to her. Let her keep fizzling, fuming, and doing whatever she does. Let this man do whatever he does. And you just stop talking and start walking. So I did, but it was amazing to watch that wind down. That top just kept spinning, and she kept saying, just shut up. And he kept playing with her. He kept saying, why don't you come over here and say that? Why are you walking away and saying that? But it wasn't that, you know, flexing thing exactly. It was that, why are you walking away and saying that? If you have something to say, why don't you turn around and say it directly to me? And I had to laugh because I'm thinking, man, that's a really good question that I've asked a bunch of times. And yeah, no, you're not going to get cowards to actually do that for as long as they have, you know, their ego still running, you know, which is the coward's way, is I'm going to let my ego take charge of this and be walking away and still sputtering blah, 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 as their balloon's been popped. It's embarrassing. Anyway, I started walking away and was thinking, wow, but this woman, her dog, she let the dog go, right? I'm trying to walk away. This woman let go of her dog. Her dog wanted to play with Hondo some more. And the dog is now at this point back over. I've got Hondo pulled up next to me, and she is screaming, shut up, shut up, shut up. You shouldn't let aggressive dogs in here, as her unleashed dog is trying to play and is nipping at and wanting to play with my dog that I've got here. I've had to stop because this dog is causing such a problem with how I'm trying to walk, to the point that I finally have to turn around, I don't know, for like 10 days or so, turn around and say, ma'am, could you please get your dog, your unleashed dog, if you do not want 313 interaction with me or my dog, please get your dog away from mine. How do you expect to be saying what you're saying and you're not doing anything? The problem is she was too afraid. She kept calling the dog, come here, come here, come here, because she was too afraid. I don't know if she thought somebody was going to bite her, hit her, shoot her. I have no idea. I have no idea. Cowards are rarely predictable in what they're afraid of. It's just they're afraid of everything. When they get caught and when their bubble is popped and they start decompensating quickly. But, you know, it was just amazing to me that I had to turn around and actually say, ma'am, your dog is off the leash. You know, if you don't want my dog to be aggressing, get your dog the F away from mine, please, so that I can go and finish leaving you alone, you know, and you can finish effing off the whole way right on out, you know. And I'm trying to keep it clean because the guy next to me, he's looking like he could get a little bit sporty with it. And I don't want to get sporty with this. I want to keep it right where it is, which is, you're just a lesson. Please don't bring this real time that, you know, we need to get unkind, because it's going to ruin your day. You know, if we get too serious with this, you like a fight. However, you're not going to like this fight, because I'm going to tell you a minute about yourself, which is what ended up happening. Of you're screaming about your dog, and your dog is currently not on a leash and is attacking mine. What are you saying? Go on, move on now. Please take your dog and keep it moving. And it embarrassed her, I guess, or whatever. But rather than just call it good and say, yeah, okay, and just take it, she's continuing to escalate, try to escalate. The guy next to me, he's happy to engage it. And I just want to go home because I got my lesson. Thank you, Spirit, of that is what it is when somebody who really just can't let it go that you're in the wrong, you know, whether we were both in the wrong or not. I am in the right for me by trying to disengage this immediately, and you're in the wrong to continue to push it forward. And when you don't understand or adhere or abide by my boundary, which is I have my dog and I'm telling you, move your dog off me, you're going to dislike that conversation immensely if you're a coward, which anybody that's starting shit from, you know, a half a mile away, yeah, please sit down because you don't have enough ammunition to play. And I don't like getting into those domination things with people. However, you meet me with dumb energy and I, you know, work to just delicately move this off of me, you and your dumb stuff, and then you want to continue to dumb stuff some more, it turns into meeting your energy in a cleaner way. That this woman walked away just, you know, like just absolutely beside herself. And the guy next to me, you know, he's telling her, you must be really unhappy. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm not getting into this. I'm just going to go. However, I noticed that as I was tracking back with Hondo to get back to my car, you know, and we've had enough time. Thank you very much. I said to the guy, thank you. I appreciate that, you know, you let him socialize. Let's move on. You know, I'm moving on. That this woman, she kept tracking back, you know, up on a ridge, you know, because it took about 15 minutes for me to walk my way back to my car with him. It's a huge field. And she kept tracking back and like leaving her dog on the leash and yet kind of like spooking and spying. So still not getting it. You haven't had enough? What? Do you think you're going to win this fight? There isn't a fight to be had. However, okay, you know, maybe he wants to play with you, but I don't. I'm going home now. And she actually ended up, because she wasn't getting any more traction, she went to her car and just kept looking over, kept looking over, and finally got in her car, disgusted with life, with me, with him, with our dogs, with herself. I have no idea, with herself at a minimum, to be that ugly and Karen-y out in public. Like, you know, we can see you, Emperor, and you naked and mean. But she jumped in her car and she drove away. And I ended up, you know, just talking to this man for a couple more minutes, you know, or whatever. And I said, that's really weird, you know. I said, but thank you very much for defending Hondo. I said, and I really appreciate that you allowed him to play with your dog. And that's such a great example of what it is to meet with people who, who know how, 737, who know how to let dogs be dogs, and other people who don't. Thank you very much for giving me such a clear picture of how that works, that dog socialization thing. But anyway, that's basically all there is for me to say, is just that it was a very strong message of this is the crap that's been swirling and circling for me personally. However, it's everybody that's fighting these little fights with, you know, the bullies in their world and the bullshit artists that are, you know, pretty much one and the same. It's just a matter of, you know, how much backup they have, how much ammunition they have, and how triggered we can get, you know, that there's nothing triggering about that conversation with this woman at 818 for me personally, because, you know, I don't know you and you're not important in my world, you know. I wouldn't give you the time of day, you know, importance wise, to ruin my day. And even if I know you very well, if you have the ability to squirrel around in my world that hard or ruin my day, wow, I've got some work to do, because there's no one that can be so important that they managed to knock me off my square on something that, you know, no matter what it is, ideally, however, definitely, like, you're a stranger, I don't even know you, and you're coming at me full bore, kinda, you know, wow, you've got some very weak people in your world, and you weren't expecting. Sorry, got cut off. You know, you weren't expecting that, and that's a shame, because she did look absolutely defeated, her little deflated balloon, you know, just getting into her car. And I'm like, that's a harsh lesson. And yet it sat back, you know, when I thought back to the dreams and the experiences and just, you know, separating and going, you know, contact, you know, from my previous life, that is exactly how that experience has been for me, and how that energetically feels when it comes swinging back through that, hey, you want to do this some more? No, I absolutely do not. You know, I've got my stuff over here and I'm in control of my stuff and back up, back up, because it's going to be less pleasant the more engaged I need to be. Now, I'm not going to be all ghetto. I'm not going to tell you to shut up, energetically, or, get ghetto and dumb. I'm not dropping down to your level. However, I'm going to meet your intensity where your intensity is. And if you keep playing at that level, you're going to like it less and less and less the closer you get to seeing your own devil. The same as it is for me. However, she wasn't mirroring something back to me other than just what the dream was of all the hostility and the very emotional immaturity 111 that comes with people that, you got work to do. If a stranger in a park, is your biggest bugaboo, that's a whole lot of work to do. And it's not mine. It's mine that, I would want to sit there and play with it. And believe me, I did debrief myself quite a bit to say, were you engaging on some level that wasn't in integrity? Did you take any low blow punches? And I did not, because it came quickly to me that this is the answer. This is what you were asking for. This is what you were looking for, and what that representation out here in 3D is about. That dream, there you go. We just brought all that slimy, yucky, gross feeling into this is what it looks like when people just absolutely refuse to stand down because they're more dedicated to their ego. They don't know another way to do it, and they're too afraid to believe that they can actually walk away from something and not die, admitting to themselves that, yeah, this woman just apologized to me, and okay, that's more work than I can get into, and there's nothing I can do, 212, for that. There's nothing I can do for that other than to be honest of, yeah, I'm sorry, and then it steps into, you're going to want to do this long-term and back and forth and engage me on some, low blow dirty pool thing. Go away, please go away. For your own safety, go away, because you're fixing to get your feelings real hurt. And she did, I think. I don't really know. That's a cowards are usually people that are quite, damaged. Psyche is hugely damaged somewhere. And I still have to know, no matter what, for her, for me, for that man, for anybody, that we still always have that nugget of real, of what Christed energy is, of universal energy is, the God seed. We all have that within us. So hopefully, if that brought her down a notch or two, and the energy that swirls around me that apparently wanted to take that trip too, if it brought her down, or brought me down, whatever it was, wherever all of those little iterations happened, if it deconstructed something and poked a little bit of light in there and caused her to reflect on her own behavior, to do some self-reflection, then great. At a minimum, it caused me to be in that moment, to not get triggered and identify that, yeah, this is just one other way that we can show you out here in 3D with a real human being, a whole human being, about dreams that have been going on for at least a week to 10 days now, of this is where we are for realsy. It's just one more way that Spirit can talk to you, Kate. How do you like that? Don't wait in understanding, and definitely don't engage that, because she needs to melt down on her own and own the fact that she's melting down on her own with that dude if she wants to. However, not with you. That's an unauthorized move to sit here and play chess with somebody who's clearly not even at the checkerboard. So there we go. I hope that's been helpful and made some sense to you, and I hope you have a beautiful day, whatever part of the day you're in. And remember, get within your skin, because you're divine. It's absolutely fine. Even if we take an ego blow, even if we get our feelings hurt, there's a reason. And if we're real intelligent about how we play this game going forward, we identify those ouchy spots, and we identify them in other people, and don't, overdo them. State our boundary and state our line without going over it at all, and without abusing that authority. I could have blessed her out really hard and been, cussing her hard, and it would have lost the point entirely. It's much more beneficial to just say, yeah, wow, I'm sorry, and now you got to go away because you're just being disrespectful. Take your dog and move it on, please. Thank you, and keep going, and let other people battle if they want to. And if there's any kind of self-reflection, great. I know I'm going to be doing mine, and what other people do, that's not my business. Keep my nose right on out of that. So as I said, enjoy your day and get within, because you're divine. Totally, totally fine. Take care of your beautiful selves, and I will see you again next time. Goodbye, friends.